And so I'm just going to do 3 main points from the trial and hand it over to Jodie, because I'm sure she's got a lot more to talk about with the physical side of the evidence. So I will just share this screen if I could.
Does she have control that can share her
I have
screen?
no control whatsoever.
Okay, there we go.
It is added to the stream. There we go. Perfect. I got it.
There we go. Now, I want you to look at this. This is something that the prosecution entered into evidence. And this apparently is Karen Reid's car in the background. Now, let me just make it bigger for you.
There you go.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so you can see it looks like a black SUV in the background. We can't really tell what type of SUV, but they're claiming that that was Karen Reid's car, and that's on her way to dropping John off at the blizzard party. But look at the ground. Clearly, there's not a blizzard yet. Okay? It's obvious that there is no snow on the ground. And the timestamp on this is 12:10 a.m. 20 minutes later, well, depends which theory you go with, because Lally had so many time frames. Somewhere between 20 and 45 minutes later, Karen apparently, according to the state, has reversed into John and killed him.
It's a BMW, wrong.
Sorry?
Someone said, is it an Infiniti? I said, no, it's a BMW.
No, it's not a BMW. It's a Toyota Lexus.
It's a Lexus. That's right. I'm sorry. That's right. It's a Lexus SUV.
It's a Toyota Lexus SUV, and it's a 570 model, LX 570.
That's right.
So, looking at the ground, if John O'Keefe was killed just after this, his body is going to be where? On the ground.
On the flat ground, right.
Not on top of the snow, on the ground, right? Because there's no snow there yet. Now, when we look up the charts for when the snow fell, the snow didn't fall until, well, the blizzard didn't blizzard.
Okay.
12:30. Like
she said she might cut out. So.
Yeah, the blizzard. It was a light covering of snow when they arrived at the after
So
party.
now the next.
You dropped out, Donna.
You dropped out, so back up about 10 seconds.
I was just joking about using the word blizzarding. So let me bring it.
No, Romy King. No.
So this is at 5 a.m. and still the blizzard hasn't hit. So you can see that there's maybe a couple of inches has fallen over a period of 5 hours.
Yeah.
So the blizzard still hasn't hit here. And
that's the CCD footage from the library, yeah?
Right. So the first one I showed you, this is the back of the library, and this is Karen Reid going to the party. And then this one is the front of the library, and this is her going out to look for John that morning after having her time wasted by Jen McCabe instead of just giving her the goddamn address. So the point that I'm trying to make here is, like, we'll get into the trial now. All right, this is one of the first things they show for evidence in the trial. This is actually Lieutenant Gallagher using a snowblower to find evidence in the snow.
Yes, guys, a snowblower. This was their official police equipment. They actually borrowed this. Yeah, Jason, this is not a
snowblower.
Yeah.
That's a leaf blower.
Yeah, right. It's a leaf blower. It's a leaf blower that they borrowed from someone.
They borrowed it from the chief across the road, who turns out doesn't have any ring cam footage. But anyway.
Yeah, a leaf
Does he
blower.
have a ring camera, though?
We never found out if he had one, but we know that he doesn't have. Did Aiden knock on his door? Aiden, the journalist.
I don't know.
This is crazy.
This
is crazy.
Oh, that's light. Keep
I don't think anyone asked the chief if he had footage. Okay, all they got was this footage I just showed you at the library, and then another bit of footage at the church, the temple. I can't remember the name of the church. The chat will fill that one in for me. They had those 2 bits of video footage.
Wow.
And then they go to collect evidence. She dropped out.
Not
happens.
one of the Aidan Carney went round, or Turtle Boy went round to every house in the area. He even went down the route that she took on her way back to John's house after she left the after party.
Melissa, right?
Not one person was asked for their CCTV footage of their Ring camera, and the people across the road had a direct view of exactly the front of 34 Fairview, and they were never asked for any of that footage. And what footage was obtained was all cut into pieces or manipulated or whatever.
Yep,
Right.
nasty timestamps that don't match up, and
Yeah.
apparitions appearing and disappearing was all over the joint. But the reason I'm showing you this particular photo is we just established from looking at their midnight photo that if John was killed that midnight, he was on the bare ground, right? Now we're looking at on top of the snow, we find glass, the glass that he left the bar with. We're finding blood spots on top of the snow. And where was John's body? On top of the snow. Now, they did try to bring a witness in to say, oh, no, he was under the snow. We had to dig him out, kind of.
So he was found on top of the snow.
Right
it
there.
looks pretty clear and evident that it had not been snowing, or at least there was no snow in that picture, that first picture of the parking lot. But then the other, is that the same building?
No, this is where his body was found. This is where his body was found, just down the road a bit, where she was headed to when she went past that building.
Yeah, so there should have been, so it should have been snow there at that time. Okay, wow. All right, continue. Wow.
Or this should have been on the grass, not on top of the snow. I think that's more to the point, right?
Yeah, I got you.
That's where I'm up to. Sort of, the blood was found on top of the snow. The glass was found on top of the snow. The glass was found to not match glass shards found on Karen Reid's bumper. Multiple witnesses said, we saw Karen Reid's taillight and it had a crack in it. So Kerry Roberts, Jennifer McCabe, and the Officer Barris from Dighton all testified that Karen Reid's taillight was cracked. But then we get to, I'll share this screen when we get to, hang on, I got to find the screen first.
I'll bring it up as soon as I see it pop up.
Yeah, I had it on the screen, but I can't find it. Here we go. Let's share this one. Share this tab.
There you go.
January walk.
Right. So we end up from 3 witnesses saying they saw the tail light was a little bit cracked in this white area. Hang on, let me get my mouse on that screen. So in this white area just here is where the crack was. And one of those people is a police officer from Dighton. But when the snow melts, 48 pieces, or I can't even remember how many pieces it was.
I think that's right.
48 pieces of taillight in the snow. Now,
over 4 weeks or something.
The taillight pieces are found under the snow, but the blood and the glass are found on top of the snow. Apparently, I don't believe either of them, but anyway.
The main part of their case is they show the car going up on a rollback, and they said, look at the white there. Someone testifies, I don't remember his name. You said, you see the white right there? And I'm like, no.
Right, it was gaslighting.
Right.
We saw the yellow side, not the white.
Right. It was just the only white I saw was just her backup white.
Right.
Which is
well,
on
I
every
actually
car.
produced I actually produced some videos showing you how you can create that effect just by lowering the red channel in a photograph or video. If you lower the red channel, you can make red lights look more white, essentially, or more yellow even. So, I mean, we're not even sure that they haven't done that with a lot of the pictures. But I think the tipping point where this should have been a mistrial long before the jury couldn't come to a decision, the point that this should have been a mistrial was the Sally Port footage.
Oh,
So
yeah.
It shouldn't have even gone to trial.
You guys really should check out Aussie Insider's channel. She has some great videos on the Sally Port footage.
right, so
Make sure that the if the moderators can make sure we have both of our guests, the defense rest as well as the Aussie channel, I would love and appreciate that.
I have a
Sorry,
short
Marco.
video I'd like to play if that's okay. This is about the look. I couldn't remember this word earlier.
What word?
The different things found in the trial. This is lawyers reacting to it. We haven't even gotten to how they collected the blood, Jason, in red solo cups.
we're not even up to the actual evidence yet.
No.
This is just evidence that we think they planted because it wasn't found where you think it would be found, given that first photograph that I showed you. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
This is lawyers reacting to that.
Here on sale for $89.99. It did a great job.
Yeah.
I don't think Melanie doesn't swear at all, but I'm pretty sure.
Are we on Candy Camera?
Your leaf blower needs more blows, sir, but it also needs to be here.
Yeah,
I love it.
Did they plug it in? Is it a handheld? Is there batteries in there?
At least we'll get to see the
That is a joke.
Just going to mute when Emily's on. I love Emily, but she has a horrible mouth.
One personal leaf blower that I got at Lowe's or Home Depot last year on sale for $89.99. It did a great job at the scene for evidence collection. And yeah.
So they got 3 officers here, and none of them go, this is a stupid thing we're doing right now, right? You would think there'd be somebody there who would be going, guys, I have a thought. Maybe we should not do this. Like, maybe we should do anything but this.
These are all lawyers.
It's my leaf blower. I just shot home and got it because, somebody thought it'd be a great idea. Because, it was windy and there was snow. We needed to collect some evidence. So we shot home, got it, shot right back. No big whoop. No big whoop.
A leaf blower.
Everybody lives in the same neighborhood.
Matter of fact, it looks like a grocery bag.
Stop and shop bag.
Are you going to tell me?
Not yet. She will in a minute. Not this bit. When they show the blood, you have to mute her. That's when she says it.
Oh, okay. They collect evidence in a stop and shop bag.
And for evidence. It does not look like an evidence bag, does it? No. Matter of fact, it looks like a grocery bag. Correct.
Y'all can
Stop
say
and
what you
shop.
want to say about us
Not a
Georgians.
forensically stable item, correct? Is that a bag that you supplied to
What
Sergeant Light?
the F is going on?
I do not
Jamie?
know. Do not recall. Blank up the stop and shop bag.
Good on you, Baker.
Mhm.
Is it a bag of blood?
Party.
There it is.
Oh my God.
There's
Just
no
sitting
way.
there?
Correct. Certainly not stiff.
Can you pause
Stop
for
and
1
shop has
second,
entered
Mindy?
the chat.
Absolutely,
Stop.
yeah.
Just so you know what we're looking at, Jason. This is the blood drops in the snow with where the leaf blower was. That's what they collected it in. They collected it in red solo cups from the chief across the road. And he also happened to have a stop and shop bag, and that's what they put into evidence. They entered it into evidence like that. And right now, guess where it's sitting?
On the
Have a
ground?
guess. Right next to Karen Reed's car. Right, so you can see there's a shadow above the top of the bag there. Can you see that shadow above the top of the bag there and the
Yeah.
mat on the ground? This is the Sally Port. This is Karen Reed's car. That shadow is her car. So can you guess what happens after this? Like having it that close to the car?
Somebody kicks it over and splatters it?
John's DNA is suddenly found on the taillight. Dun dun dun. Anyway,
Wow.
Yeah,
This
but it
is
wasn't proven to be.
wild.
So when they
Stop and
show the
Shop has
blood on Emily, she's going to say the F word really loud. So that's a good spot
Okay.
to like mute her.
Gotcha.
But you got to hear what Runkle says.
in front of the trial. The evidence was collected in red Solo cups obtained from the deputy chief, Tom Kelleher, who lived kind of across the street from John O'Keefe, but not exactly. He gave them some red Solo cups, and then they put it into a Stop and Shop bag, and it is now sitting in the Sally port next to the vehicle.
On the photograph.
Yes, you
What is that?
Look at
those are
that.
the plastic cups with the
Kidding
coagulated
me.
blood.
Tell me that picture was not
On
wild.
the photograph.
That
Yes.
right there.
Wow. This is
Wild.
craziness. This is
So
madness.
here, in this picture here, see that black thing in the top right corner?
Yeah, it's the
That black
bumper
thing,
or the
that's
tire.
that's actually the tail light pulled off her car now, sitting that close to the blood
Yeah.
and evidence.
Oh, okay.
Which is where they found John's DNA.
Oh,
Oh,
that makes perfect sense.
it does,
It's
doesn't it?
wild.
Yeah. Look at Emily's face.
She's going, don't tell me what's in that bag. Don't tell me the blood's in that bag.
Individualized bags. Those are not in individualized bags. Those are just out in the open. There's no cover to them. Like anything could have made its way into this thing.
Anything.
Like, just what is happening with this? This is just insane.
It's not even sealed up. It's just sitting in a Sally port. These are the cups of blood that should have been in the temporary evidence locker and then in the permanent evidence locker.
And in a sterile
Correct.
container.
Correct. You know where that bag came from?
I do not.
Probably Stop and
Is that
Shop.
bag that you supplied to?
I will say I am disappointed.
Probably.
I was really hoping that it would
Wow.
be Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly.
would have made this,
That was Wiggly Wiggly.
or maybe a Bucky's. But like, I think Piggly Wiggly would have been funnier. But yeah, Stop and Shop. Ooh.
Next photograph, please.
I'm sorry. If the Stop and Shop bag is sitting in the Sally port next to the defendant's vehicle, are the red Solo cups still in it? Did it ever get marked into evidence? Did it get refrigerated? What?
No, it melted.
Nope.
Oh, God.
Points like, I don't understand. What was the point? What was the point in using these red Solo cups when you're a mile away from the police department?
Get ready
Like,
for the mute button.
I don't understand
it's
why
gonna
use
drop your
unsterilized
phone.
Solo cups. Like, what is happening with this investigation? I am losing my mind.
Human blood of a dead man is sitting in red Solo cups in a ShopRite bag or a supermarket bag instead of an evidence collection bag. No seal, no temperature control, just sitting there.
You have got.
Yeah.
Evidence. This contained somebody's groceries.
What do you think's in that evidence bag? I'm sorry, Stop and Shop bag.
I'm not.
Sandwiches. That's what we think. It's a bunch of sandwiches on the floor of the Sally port right next to Karen Reed's car.
You know those cups were not sterilized. They're not labeled. There's no label on the bag. We don't know when anything was collected. You don't even really know that that's that person's just cups of blood.
Like, did somebody go on a condom run and that's what was in there? Like, I just don't know.
Objection, speculation.
What's in the bag? What's in the bag? We're gonna surprise him. Surprise! it's not groceries.
This is, oh my God. Okay. Artie.
Oh my God! You.
Now, you. Oh my God.
Oop, there it is.
This is both the best and worst
Melanie's so
picture
stupid.
in the history of time, because here we've got this picture of them handling the evidence, and it's in Solo cups that they got from some dude, and then
Okay,
they
it
stuffed
looks like
into
that's
a
what the rest of the
used
video is.
No,
grocery
no, let
bag.
you go. Listen, listen.
Then the officer is holding this open
Listen.
with gloves. The gloves are what makes it. The gloves are the best part, because it's like we have every source of
muted, Jason. I don't know
contamination
if you know.
possible, but we're wearing gloves.
But we're wearing gloves. I'm here for the gloves.
Okay, you can stop now. I needed him to hear that because I thought it was
Irony.
hilarious as well. I mean,
Exactly.
Wow.
Why bother?
Yeah, why?
Why
What's the?
bother?
Oh my gosh!
So there you go. That's the evidence that they showed that proved Karen Reed hit him with a car. Are you convinced?
The problem
Wow.
is when you've got no prosecution, nothing to prosecute, you fill it full of fluff. And that's exactly what Lally did. He
Oh,
fluffed it.
Right. The injuries are probably the second most important thing aside of what you just laid your eyes on, and that was that there was no injuries below his neck, nothing.
So
So if he's
he was bent over. He was trying to tie his shoe up, and she reversed into him at 45 miles per
I've
hour
got a picture.
in a blizzard. And
have you been watching Pleven?
hey, I'm trying to make it make sense because I can't understand it.
Exactly.
Wow.
If you're in a motor
Right.
vehicle accident and
Defense rest is
going forward or reverse, you would
extra-
expect lower extremity injuries of some sort. Not even a bruise.
Yeah, no bruises below the neck at all. No broken bones. No, nothing.
Can I ask, in the snow, how far away from, I guess, where he would have been hit was he
15
found
feet.
in the snow?
15 feet from the curb.
15
According-
feet?
According to the accident reconstructionist,
Wow.
he was hit and flew. Wasn't it 30 feet? Didn't he come up with 30 feet? Like
I
his
don't know.
body was 15 feet from the curb, but where he was actually hit and flew across the curb, apparently the glass traveled at the same pace and
Oh,
distance
yes.
as his 210-pound body and landed
I've
in
got-
the same spot as his 210-pound body, and so did the tail light. Those little pieces of light plastic and glass all shattered and flew to the same spot where his body was, 30 feet from the impact point, according to their reconstructionist. The arm looks, to
I got the
everyone
arm one.
who has any experience, including people who train police dogs, everyone who has looked at this are saying this is
Here
a
we go.
dog attack. And the
A dog attack.
just on the arm,
Interesting.
just on the arm, and
Show you
Jodie's
how.
going to tell you why it's a dog attack. But
Oh,
the
there you go.
defense also put up 3 witnesses who are very, very experienced in emergency room and dog attack bites. And I mean, it's not
There we
often
go.
people actually die from
Got that
dog
one.
bites. So they've got these experts who have dealt with, deaths from dog bites to come and testify, and that to them, this is dog bites. They can clearly explain to you where the dog has
There you go,
grabbed
Mandy.
on and not quite got a hold, taken another grab, and then grabbed again. So you can see 3 sort of separate areas where the dogs tried to bite on and get a hold there on the arm.
I've got the comparison pictures if you bring that up, Mandy.
Wouldn't there be anything saliva or fur or
Wow.
something?
You would think, wouldn't you? Yes. Yes, if you swabbed it properly. Yeah. So the top is what is John's arms, the lacerations to his arms. And the prosecution is trying to say that was caused by a broken glass shattering and exploding.
Oh.
That was from the broken tail light, according to their accident reconstructionist.
Yeah, that is one serious tail light.
Yeah. So the bottom is the fake arm that the dog trainer uses, the actual police dog trainer uses to
teach them
teach
to
the dogs
latch on.
what to do.
Yeah.
Now, what they're taught to do is not just to latch, but they're taught to latch and pull back. And our natural reaction, as if we feel pain, is also to retreat from that. So
back,
that's
right.
why you end up with a laceration and a tear rather than a puncture wound, so to speak. And the defense put on an animal bite expert as well to explain all of that. But those wounds didn't contribute to cause of death. That it was purely the blunt force trauma.
2 seconds, and then a few seconds later, their butts dial back and speak for a little bit longer, and then a minute later, Jen McCabe's Google searching how long to die in the cold. A few minutes after that, Lucky's due to come and plow the driveway. It's all in this very finite amount of time between between 2 and 3 that this flurry of activity is going on with all of their phones. And according to them, all of it is butt dials, including 15 calls to John's phone.
Yeah.
From Jen McCabe.
That
I
sounds
butt dial
logical.
people 15 times every day.
How did they get the jury to a hung jury? That's the part. To me,
What
this
hung?
it doesn't.
The verdict form. The verdict
And
form
here's
was
the thing
because-
about that.
Oh
Now,
my God, it was the verdict form. You're right.
Mhm.
they actually, all 12 said that they did
Hey,
not think that she was guilty of the murder charges.
But they lumped all the charges together.
Oh, the instructions.
Well, no,
Mhm.
not really.
no?
They had them separate.
Well,
But
on
the
one form,
verdict form that the defense had a problem with and went to the judge with, and because there was not a not guilty box
Mhm.
on the verdict form.
Yeah, 3 charges on 3 separate sheets with no not guilty box.
Oh, got you. Okay. So
Like
you only
what
have,
verdict form doesn't have a not guilty section? Like you have
Normally,
one
each
other
charge
option.
has its own
Right.
thing, its own form. Guilty,
Should
not
be a
guilty, or
box for
lesser
guilty
included.
or a box for not
But they
guilty.
were on the one.
Guilty or not guilty on each of those pages. It's what should have been there. The judge said, no, that's not how we do it in Massachusetts. Mr. Alan Jackson from New York City,
Right.
fancy bum.
He took a complete dislike to him because
Wow.
he was an out of towner.
So, but then they come back. They say we can't. You know, they give all the instructions.
Mm-hmm.
They finally come back, say, okay, it's a hung jury. She does not let the lawyers poll the jury.
All the jury.
No,
She
They
didn't announce that
immediately-
they were hung on 2 charges. She just
She
said,
did not.
you can't decide. Okay, I'm calling a mistrial. Bye-bye, everybody. Got up and walked
Thank
out.
you.
That
exactly what
quickly.
she did.
That was it. And then the jury were like, wait a minute. The next day, they're contacting the defense lawyers, going, we're not comfortable with this because she was not guilty on the 2 murder charges.
Wow.
So
And
6
good
of
of
the
her,
12 come forward now and said,
Mhm.
yep, we're not guilty on charges 1 and 2.
And since the trial, there has been, like, they've started at the bottom, basically. The FBI is slowly picking them off. So the lead investigator and all of they're slowly moving up the ranks. The lead investigator has now been suspended, and initially it was with pay, now it's without. And they're
he was
slowly,
fired. He was
Yeah.
fired.
Wow.
but
And
yes,
now
they're
he's
working their way out to the DA now.
What do you say, Mandy?
I'm sorry, the lead investigator was fired. Now he's being investigated, along with many other people are being investigated by the FBI. They've stepped in because this has turned into such a clown show.
I
And
think it will.
they have appealed the verdict, and they go to
They went
appeals.
to the judge. They went to the judge first and appealed to the judge, saying, you know, we've got 6 juries who have come forward now, 6
right.
jurors who have come forward now, who have said this, this, and this, and
And appealing is
their
double
argument
jeopardy laws.
is right. Their argument is double jeopardy. You can't try her you can't put her to trial again next year because she's already
Insane.
been acquitted of charges 1 and 2. And she went, yeah, don't care. You guys didn't object, even though she didn't really give them time to object. And all the way through the trial, she's saying, would you like to object, Mr. Lally?
She's
But
trying another
blame-
case at the moment. Did you know that? Or she's about to.
Yeah,
The
she
Brian
is.
Walsh case.
Wow.
And he has now subpoenaed all of, because Proctor was one of the lead investigators in that case as well. And so he is subpoenaing all of her records and all of Sandra Birchmore's records for his trial.
Yeah, have you heard of the Brian Walsh case, Jason?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this same
Uh,
investigator was the lead investigator over the
Mhm.
Brian Walsh case too.
I think the Brian Walsh case is very black and white, but because of Proctor's now
involvement they're going to use
proven.
it.
Yeah, it might throw it. I think it's a very black and white case with Brian Walsh, just given that.
He unalived his wife.
Yeah,
And,
I think he definitely did that. But
And get this, Jason, it's based on Google search. So his Google searches were
on his son's iPad.
how do you bury a body and things like that, right?
The
Oh,
best way to get rid of a body.
oh my
But in the
God.
Karen Reid trial, Lally has just put a case forward saying Jen McCabe's Google search doesn't actually exist because of technical screw everyone's brains. I know what he's saying and I know he's wrong, but the jury didn't. And most people who aren't tech heads wouldn't have a clue what he was talking
Tried to
about.
baffle them with bulldust.
Now, he's presented in Karen Reid's case that data has to be wrong, has an error for XYZ reason, but now he's going to present in the Brian Walsh case that the Google data has to be correct. So I don't know how he's going to swing that, because I can see Brian Walsh's lawyers going, well, wait a second, we're going to get your experts in to come and testify for us now. So
it's absolutely insane. But guys, this goes back to court on January 29th, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's the date for the retrial, but they go to an appellate jury before then, and I don't know the date of that. But they're actually going to see a group of judges, which is good. I think that's a very positive thing.
I don't think the appellate case will be seen prior to January. The waiting is just far too long, I think.
Oh, we're waiting on a date for that? Okay, I didn't know.
We get dates. Actually, what happened with the appellate thing is instead of a single judge looking at the appeals issue, he has pushed it up to a panel of judges in the SJC.
Good.
So she stands a better chance with a panel of judges. When you look at just the way it polled throughout the trial, a lot of the big channels that were showing the trial polled people, do you think she's guilty, or just based on the evidence that we've seen so far. And it was polling around 90% people thought she was innocent. So I feel like a panel of judges is going to be representative of those stats rather than a single judge, I got it. I think she's a good chance.
You look like you need to wind it up, Jason. Is that your wind-up face?
No, I'm actually reading, trying to make sure I'm understanding and keeping track.
Are we on a time limit?
And it was so cringy when Higgins read the text message just trying to flirt with Karen. My opinion, my personal opinion is Brian Higgins did it. That's my personal opinion. That he was down in the basement.
Right, because you could see, you're right, you could see when they were at the bar, he was trying to get John outside. He was doing that whole boy thing, like, come on,
he was
mate,
doing that.
outside.
Fight me for it, bro. That whole thing.
Come, bro,
The other thing in the basement had one of those.
That's what I got from it. And I personally think that Brian Higgins did it. He's he works for the FBI, right? No, he's an ATF agent. He's an ATF agent.
And he thought he was having a fling with Karen in his own imagination.
And he took his phone to a military base, Jason, and broke the SIM card, destroyed the phone, and threw it in a garbage dump at a military base. That's how much he wanted to get rid of his phone.
After he just extracted just the messages between him and Karen off the phone, illegally using an FBI.
And after he was issued a summons to not destroy any evidence. Yes.
Okay.
So there you go. You got the
So
whole
there is
story.
absolutely no factual evidence whatsoever that connects Karen Reid to this trial. It is zero factual evidence. It is all speculative. There is nothing at all.
Yep.
That
except the broken tail lights that appeared underneath the snow when everything else.
There's no DNA or anything. All clear of that.
It's funny that the slimy detective is the one that found the tail lights most of the time, and they found it over the course of weeks.
Right, that's what I heard. Also, it was like it wasn't like the next day.
No, actually,
wasn't secured.
that day they searched the scene. They didn't find any tail light.
Yeah,
The
no.
cert people
Oh.
came in that day, and
They found
Yeah.
the tail light because every week they drove past, somehow
oh look, there's
another piece showed up
Not another piece.
Yeah, until 48 pieces
until finally 48
weeks
pieces
later.
appeared. And then here's the other
That's
thing:
wild.
the FBI pulled up the FBI. So the judge ruled against them in the Rule 17 motions to get all of the Albert's phone records,
Correct.
Yeah.
and except for Higgy's. I think they were allowed Higgy's. Well, they had Brian Alberts and Higgy's were up in the air at the time that the judge issued "Don't destroy your phones. We haven't made a decision yet."
Preservation order. Yeah.
Preservation order. And then she ruled against them, and so they couldn't get their data. But the FBI got their data, and the FBI uncovers a group text between all the McAlberts, all in this group text together, saying, "Tell them the guy didn't come in the house."
Yeah. We're sticking to that story, right? That he never
There's
came in
also-
the house.
With
Oh yeah,
Amy
and
Turner
we
of
better
Turtle
stop
Boy.
talking. Sorry.
Hmm?
I was saying that the other thing they said was we better stop talking in the group text in case someone can
Yes.
track us. So not sus at all. Go on,
No, that's
Jody.
perfectly normal.
Because Turtle Boy has been so involved in uncovering a lot of this stuff because he's an investigative journalist. They wanted to keep him quiet too. And also Sean McDonough, who is a retired DEA special agent, he had some contacts and knew all of this about the FBI in the background as the trial was going. Now, because there is allegations against Turtle Boy that are going to court now, it has been shown that the extraction from Jen McCabe's phone wasn't complete. And now the new attorneys have been able to establish that there is a complete record of Jen McCabe's phone.
No, you got
Can
the
be
wrong
obtained.
person, not Jen McCabe's. Turtle Boy's case involves Lindsay Gattini's phone, and it's really got nothing to do with
Yeah.
anything. They were only going after Turtle Boy so they could get Karen back in jail. They didn't want her out on bail. But go on. Sorry for interrupting. But it's Lindsay
right.
Gattini's phone.
Lindsay is the ex
It's
that framed
it is
him.
Lindsay.
Yeah, but if Sean McDonough was, I think it's only been in the last 24 hours that he brought it out that because of this investigation, they have been able to subpoena that information now to bring it in, and it's only because of the charges brought up against Turtle Boy, because he said, you've taken, because the Turtle Boy got put in jail for 60 days for witness intimidation, which was rubbish. But he said Turtle Boy's taken 60 days on the chin, but had he not done that, this information would never have come to light. And I'm sure he said Jen McCabe's.
Yeah, they were
phone,
doing
because
everything.
that's how
could
they
to shut him up.
verified the 227
Seems Turtle Boy.
was actually, that's his YouTube nickname, I think.
I gotta look at this Turtle Boy gentleman.
Oh, well, you want to
No, continue. Don't let me distract you. I just want.
He's looking at Turtle Boy. Let me warn you, he's got a bad mouth. I'm just warning you. But he is the one that cracked this wide open, though.
Yes.
He's the reason that this has so much publicity.
And it's because of his contact. It's because of his contact with Karen Reed, getting information to write in his news articles, that they decided if we can connect Karen Reed to Turtle Boy and to these protests of witness intimidation, then we can have Karen Reed thrown back in jail.
So I want to show one final picture, and I think this would be a good place to kind of end. This is John O'Keefe. There's
one more thing that the entire audience is asking me to tell Jason about before we end it.
I know, and I want to talk about it too.
Oh no! What are y'all telling me? What are y'all? Oh gosh!
Here, I'll look it up.
What's the thing with the rubber duck? Is that what you're talking about? The rubber ducks?
Yep.
Yeah. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it's a duck. So
Karen Reed's duck gate. Okay, it
Duck
doesn't come up on Google.
Gate.
It should come up on Google. Go ahead, Aussie.
So way back in the pre-trial, I told you that Alan Jackson was explaining how the prosecution had presented false evidence to the court, and he said he was explaining it to the judge, and right at the end he said, Your Honor, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it must be a duck. And
Unless it's not a duck.
the protesters went, well, that is a really cool saying. So usually anything AJ says or Yannetti, anything you can coin either of them saying, the protesters will go, hey, that's very symbolic. We'll stick to that. And so what happened after the duck thing was that people started saying, quack, quack to the investigators that investigated this case. They were protesting outside the police station and outside the courthouse and outside the state house. And then someone got the idea, hey, let's start getting rubber ducks. And so now they've got rubber ducks, and they're writing FKR on the bottom, which is Free Karen Reid, and leaving them around town, leaving them on park benches outside of D&E, and chucking them in the back of garbage trucks. And they're just like all over town, they're leaving rubber ducks with FKR on them. And, people have got their ideas who done it. So whatever idea they have, they write that name on the bottom of the duck. It's just symbolic.
Okay. Find the duck, write the name of who I think did it. Okay.
Right. But most people are just saying, FKR on the bottom of their ducks. But anyway, the McAlberts are threatened by the ducks. The McAlberts are scared out of their skin because of the rubber ducks. They're so afraid of the rubber ducks that they have had the police launch a 6-month investigation, a better investigation, pulling video footage and telephone records and you name it that they didn't do with John O'Keefe.
They were actually videoed picking up the ducks and putting them in evidence collection bags.
That is hilarious. That's so out of control.
Proper evidence collection bags.
One by one. Stuff. So they could dust them for fingerprints. But they couldn't do that with human blood.
The blood.
So now there's a 36-page report demonstrating exactly how well these cops can actually investigate if they really want to. But in this case, it's for rubber ducks. Because the Albert,
not for a dead Boston police officer that deserved respect and deserved trial and deserved
the Alberts and the McCabe's, the most violent people that everybody knows in town for bar fights and bar brawls and all sorts of stuff. They're terrified of the ducks.
The ducks.
Yeah, it's witness intimidation.
The ducks.
The ducks.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on and sharing everything. I know this just scratches the surface, and it would take days to tell everything, but you guys have been fantastic.
Trial, so we packed a lot into
2 hours. You did, yes.